All right. Hey, everyone. Mark here, Mark P. Markets. Thank you for joining me for another Bitcoin analysis session. I want to welcome you all. If you're new to the channel, let me explain to you how this works. So first, I'm going to go over the economic calendar as I usually do, because you need to be prepared for any type of economic events that may unfold this week so that you can better manage risk in your own positions. Second, we're going to go over today's title, which is how to buy this pullback on Bitcoin. All right, so we're going to talk about that. And then, like my camera's a little funky here. There we go. And then third, we're going to go over new trade signals from the Trade Scanner Pro so I can demonstrate how the Trade Scanner Pro works. If you're interested in that sort of thing, there's a link in the description. You could check that, but we'll talk about that more when we get to it. All right, so that's what we're going to do. Let's get this thing started, shall we? All right, so first things first, I'm going to show you my slide. This is for educational purposes only. For investment advice, please consult a licensed investment advisor. All right, I'm going to try to keep this stream at an hour today, but a lot of times I go over because the market keeps me in positions. Anyway, I want to say hello to my people. We got Steen, of course. We got Savi from Brooklyn. How are you? We got Lad. All right, Arm, good to see you guys. Okay, cool. My regulars. You guys should all be saying hello and thank you to Steen, because Steen does a lot of work behind the scenes. In fact, he showed me some progress, Steen. I saw your message. He's working on the overlays for the Trade Scanner Pro, and he's shown me the one with the table, which is really cool because you can input your symbols and then track all kinds of signals and stuff from your chart. Very cool. So we're going to have that coming out soon. And by the way, when those overlays come out, we're raising the prices, just so you know. All right, I've said that before. But anyway, also, I want to mention, before I go through the links in the description, I want to mention something else. I am planning to output more content that is geared toward investors. This channel here, these streams that I do, this is geared more toward traders, people that want to get their people that are hands-on in the markets. But I'm planning content that is going to be geared more toward the casual investor, someone that doesn't have the time to spend in front of their computer or trying to figure this out. They just want an investment idea and they just want to put some money to work and check every once in a while, right? That sort of thing. So that's coming. Now, I know I announce these things and they take a while, but I just want you to know that is something I'm planning to do. Okay, so if you're interested in some of these things, if you want to support the channel, please press the like button. Please press subscribe and send a comment. That always helps. And check the links in the description. If you want to sign up for the Trade Scanner Pro, there's a 14-day free trial. Secondly, if you want to get a sample of the Trade Scanner Pro strategy, we have a bot that sends out a signal by email every single day for free. One signal. You could sign up for that in the description as well. Also, we have a Discord community. Now, Steen and Alex have been doing a very good job just answering questions and being available. I have plans for that community as well to develop it further. So, but there is a place where you can ask questions. There's also a support channel and a suggestions channel for the Trade Scanner Pro for people that are subscribing or trying out the Trade Scanner Pro. So there's plenty of help there. All right. Also, if you're interested in TradingView and signing up for TradingView, there are some benefits to being a subscriber. You don't need it to use the Trade Scanner Pro, but by having it, for example, you can set more than one notification. There are some benefits. By the way, if you use the affiliate link in the description, Steen gets a cut of your subscription, and it goes a long way into helping him support the community. So please consider that if you're going to sign up for TradingView. Also, if you're interested in Bybit or MEXC, those are exchanges where you can trade other coins and stuff. It helps if you're a non-US resident, but if you do open an account and fund an account and place trades, again, Steen gets a small cut of that as well. So keep that in mind. And if you're just feeling generous and you just want to send him a donation just to thank him, that's always a nice thing to do. There are wallet addresses in the description as well. One is for Polygon, one is for Ethereum, and you have that option also. Okay, so again, anything goes to help Steen support the community and provide all this great technology that we enjoy. All right, so again, thank you, Steen, for all your hard work and those great suggestions. Okay, and I'll get back to you on that message you sent me. All right, so let's move along here and let's get into the economic calendar real quick. All right, I'm going to, yeah, I can leave the chart like this. In fact, I'll just do this for now. Well, I'm going to expand this. So while I talk about the economic calendar, so this week is not a heavy week in terms of economic news. All right. So I was looking at the calendar. You can use any calendar for this, but I saw basically we have manufacturing services PMI, and we had some speeches from President Lagarde from the ECB. I saw one from the Bank of England. We had what's his name, Bailey, Governor Bailey had a speech, or has a speech tomorrow, I believe. Again, these are not market moving events. They can be if you trade Forex, possibly, but these are not dollar moving or major global market moving events. So I wouldn't go nuts with those. Okay. I noticed Canada has their interest rate announcement. I believe that's tomorrow. So again, any CAD crosses that you may be involved in, it can have an effect. But Canada is not a very global moving country. No offense, but the economic news that comes out of there is not really a major. Doesn't really move the dollar, the U.S. dollar. Okay, so but I wanted to mention that it's on the calendar. Also, I saw Germany has some of these PMI numbers, and then on Thursday, the U.S. has their S&P manufacturing PMI and whatever, right? There's a couple of those numbers that can possibly move markets intraday. So just check the timestamp. I believe that number may be 10 a.m. Eastern time or 10:30. Double check the timestamp, because there are other numbers like the CPI report and the PPI and those kind of things, retail sales. Those numbers all come out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. So sometimes you have a 10 o'clock number or 10:30 number. Be aware of it, especially if you day trade, because some surprise can, create an expansion out of nowhere, and you don't want to be stuck on the wrong side of that, or be like, what's going on here, right? So just be aware of that. That's pretty much it as far as the economic calendar goes in terms of economic events. Now, this week, we're in company quarterly report season, whatever, right? Companies are coming out with their reports for the third quarter, and you want to pay attention. We have Tesla this week. I believe they're reporting on Wednesday, and there's a bunch of other big names. I saw GE on the list. I saw Verizon. There's a lot of names, right? So, but a big high profile name like that one can move the NASDAQ or the S&P. I believe it's on the S&P. So it can have an effect, right? So you want to definitely make sure you know what time. I don't know if it's after market or if it's during the market or if it's pre-market. You want to double check, and that can have an effect on things. So please keep that in mind. All right. Check the company calendar as well when you have big names coming out. Like if you see a name like Amazon or Microsoft or one of those big names, they can also have an effect on a major index. So again, the idea is to mitigate risk. Just be aware of what's going on. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's move along. If you have any questions, let me know. Now, I want to try to get to the Trade Scanner Pro as quickly as possible so we could spend more time on that. But let's get into now the section where I talk about how to buy this pullback. Now, if you read my article yesterday on TradingView, I talked about this exactly, right? And in fact, you could see my scenario, you could see my illustration on the chart here, right? You can see what I drew here, and it looks like it's starting. Now, again, the analysis that I do is based primarily on two components, trend and support and resistance levels. Now, I tell this to people every single week. It's amazing to me how people just don't get it. They don't want to get it. You know why? Because trend and support and resistance levels are boring. They're not sexy. They don't make you money right away. They're not going to make you a millionaire tomorrow, all that other stuff. They want something. Show me something new and exciting. Show me something cool that no one else knows, right? Yeah, that doesn't exist. So what I do is I filter out all the garbage information, right? And this is what separates someone that's a professional from someone that is an amateur. Is the amateur consumes lots of information and basically goes on the idea that all of that information is created equal. Someone that's a professional understands that most of the information we consume is irrelevant, and you have to focus only on stuff that matters. And you want to be a minimalist in this game, because by focusing on less, not only can I be more decisive, but I can make more rational choices, right? And I'm acting on information that actually matters to the market because I'm aligning with the intent of the market, not my own feelings and opinions and all that other nonsense. And that's how I'm able to call these moves a lot of the time. I'm not right all the time because like this arrow points out right here. Oh, I got to make this bigger. Sorry. Like this arrow points out. Here we go. Like this arrow points out over here. I called the week before, I called for a test of this low and I was wrong. But what made me wrong? Well, the country, as I was told, the country of China came out with a stimulus package that was unexpected, right? And that led to this move here on Bitcoin, which is not something I could have anticipated. The only thing that I could have anticipated was, well, I could be wrong about my short, and I have to have some sort of stop or some sort of risk management thing in place to protect me in case something like this unfolds, right? That's the best I can do. Unless, of course, I have connections to the premier of China, and he tells me, "Oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna have a stimulus package announcement, just so you know." But every time I call the guy, I leave him messages. He never calls me back. So anyway, that's what led to something like that. And my point is, that's the random nature of the market. So all I can do is protect myself against those possibilities and align myself with the probabilities. The location of Bitcoin right now, this zone, that's why I put this rectangle on the chart. This zone is a high probability bearish reversal zone. Why? Why is it high probability? Because history repeats itself. That's a fact, right? We had selling activity over here. We had selling activity back here. This dates all the way back to June, right? And I mean, it goes further, right? We can go further. Look, a lot of selling activity in this zone. So probability favors that it attracts selling activity again, unless it proves otherwise. So I go with the probability. That's why I don't look to buy highs. I either step aside, or if I'm being aggressive in another market or whatever, I'm open to shorting. But as you know, in Bitcoin, I'm not very open to shorting, especially the spot market. Futures is another story, but the spot market, I don't think it's a good idea. So in a situation like this, you step aside. Now, one thing I want to point out here, because again, I haven't addressed yet, well, how do you buy this pullback? One thing I want to point out is in the article that I wrote, I put a section about what happens if I'm wrong about the short, right? And I said, if this inside bar high is taken out, I basically talked about the inside bar high, it would cancel my scenario. But look what happened here, though. It took it out briefly, right? And the high of the current candle is 69,498. When I was writing the article, we were fooling around, what was it, 67 something or 68 something? I forget the exact price. But so there was some push higher, and some can argue that my idea was canceled out. But the thing is, look, in the same candle that it took out the high, it took out the lows. In the same candle, I'm going to say that again. We're looking at daily candles here. In the same candle, we took out the lows. So we went from a brief buy signal right back to a sell signal in a location where sell signals are likely to follow through. So if you got long on something like this for a swing trade, you're stopped out at least. You should not be caught in this. You should not be stuck hoping that it comes back, number one. Number two, the opportunity in such a situation really is for day traders, because day traders have the potential to capture small movements inside of these tails, basically, right? Because this thing ran like probably what, 500 or maybe 1,000 points higher, something like that, before it turned. And as a day trader, you have the possibility of capturing a piece of that without taking all of this risk that you were facing at such a level. Does that make sense? Let me know if you have any questions about that, because that's an important point. And that's not something, like, I can't explain all of this in an article. It takes me long enough to write that article to begin with, so I can't explain every little detail. You know, and I know some beginners may get confused by some of this, but what can I do? You have to recognize something like that with experience, right? You get the buy signal, turns right into a sell signal. If you're caught in that and you get a buy, it goes right into a sell, you have to get out, because you're in a location where sell signals are more likely to follow through. If this was a support level or something else, that would be another story, but this is not a support level. We're at a major resistance level. So you have to be aware of that. Now, how to buy this pullback? we took out, there's a sell signal in play, right? Now, a lot of people are going to start buying early because that's a common mistake. Okay, you have some support at 67K, but that's not really like a major support. You're basically at the bottom area of the resistance zone. I wouldn't really be going nuts about that as far as a swing trade long. I see a question here from Monica. It's good to be wrong sometimes. Otherwise, it would be boring. Well, sure, Monica. I mean, I can appreciate that. But being wrong is part of the game, right? And that's something that we all have to deal with. The thing is, you want to be good at minimizing what you lose when you're wrong, because we're going to be wrong. A lot of the time when we trade, we're taking 50% trades, whether we realize it or not. A lot of times we only have a 50% chance, right, of being right. So if we're going to be wrong half the time, the way to make money is to minimize what we lose when we're wrong. So that's why money management is really like the key to the whole thing about developing consistency. Whether you're a day trader, a swing trader, or even an investor, you have to understand that part. But many people, they're focused on the wrong things, and they're too busy consuming lots of bad information or acting on information that's just not relevant, and wrestling with random results and getting caught up in that situation where they think, okay, they're just missing the magic button, the magic key, and they're searching for this magic key that doesn't exist, right? Every week I come here and I tell people how this works, and as you can see, my numbers don't grow. So in a way, that's a good thing, because that means there's a lot of opportunity for people like us out there to capitalize on ignorance. That's how markets work. Now, so how to buy this pullback, right? Let's get back to that. I would anticipate this scenario following through because we have the sell signals, right? So that means over the next couple of days, we should be seeing these daily candle lows get taken out. They should be broken, and we should see some sort of expansion lower, okay? So in this situation, we are looking for support levels on the bigger picture. We may not get one right away. You have to understand something real quick. I have to zoom out because I have to point this out here. Bitcoin is not in a particular trend on the bigger picture right now. This is a range-bound market that I'm showing you here. This is a consolidation that we've had dating back to March, right? That's the consolidation high. And we have a consolidation low over here, which is around 48K, right? This low over here. Inside of that, we are in a range. This is when we zoom out further, yes, we can argue that we're in a bullish trend, but until we break out of this range, the support and resistance levels are more likely to hold. So we want to identify support and resistance levels within the range and on the outer perimeters of the range, right? Because that's where our probabilities are going to be the greatest, or where we can align with the greatest chance of being on the right side, right? Like for example, not buying up here and potentially shorting up here if you're into that, right? Now, so how do you buy this pullback? You need a major support level. 67K is not a major support level. I would consider it minor because it's the outer perimeter of this rectangle, this zone. It's a resistance zone, so it's still resistance. It may act as a support on a smaller time frame, but we're not talking about smaller time frames. We're talking about the daily time frame, which is appropriate for swing traders. Now, where is a relevant support? Look at my illustration. What number is that? 64K. 64K. So if we can get back to 64K, that may be a swing trade opportunity to go long. That's how you buy the pullback. Now, that all depends, though, on the confirmation that we get at 64K. So if we get there, first of all, big if, because these are not forecasts. You can't forecast the market that far. The market has to do its thing, and then we adjust, right? So if we get to 64K, I'm looking for, as you guys know, pin bars and inside bars, right? Pin bar, we get like a pin bar in this area. That would be attractive. Or maybe we get like an inside bar situation, okay, in that area around 64K, maybe slightly lower, maybe slightly above. And then I'm looking for something like that. That's what I'm looking for, to buy the pullback as a swing trade on this time frame. You can use other time frames, but we're talking about this one for the purposes of this analysis, right? And that's what this leg here represents, something that looks like this. If the market presents it, it doesn't have to be a pin bar and inside bar. It could be a pin bar by itself. It could be a combination of both. It could be just an inside bar. That's the setup. And then it has to break the high of that candle to give us a signal, right? And then we can use the low, or we can use other methods to define our risk. But this location right here is the high probability pullback location. Now, here's a question for you to think about. What if we clear this level like it's not even there, like we blew through it over here, right? Blew right through it with that green candle. What if we blow through with a red candle? Then we look at the next support, okay, which is here. The next support area, which is what? What area is that? 60K, which is what I was talking about a couple of weeks ago. 60K. That's the next support level on this time frame that carries any weight, any relevance. And then we look again for the same things there. What kind of price action do we get there? As I've mentioned many times before, you don't just step in front of the market, because while it may work occasionally, there's going to be that time where it doesn't work. Like imagine, right? You took a short over here because, oh, it'll pull back. It'll pull back. And then you just get caught in this thing. There was no pullback. It just went straight through, right? But you're assuming, oh, it'll pull back like it pulled back over here. You cannot step in front. The market is highly random. We must always respect that fact. Hey, Peter, how are you? Good to see you. I want to ask you, so Monica has another question here. I wanted to ask you about the 67K support. It is not really STH to pay attention to. Okay, so I think I just answered that question, Monica. Yeah. So on small time frames, this can be relevant. I'm saying, look, we're getting a little tail on the current candle. So for your day trades, that's a relevant level. But remember, that's for your day trades. As I mentioned, always before you even pull up a chart, you have to decide, especially if you're a beginner, you have to decide what you're going in for. Are you going in for a day trade? Are you going in for a swing trade? Or are you looking for an investment? Which one you choose is going to shape your decisions going forward and your parameters, your risk and reward parameters going forward. So you must answer that question first before anything else, right? So in the case of this, what I'm showing you here, we're assuming the swing trade perspective. That's everything that I'm talking about here is swing trade. But as a day trader, this 67K is relevant. And we're going to talk about that here in a moment, right? But I don't want to confuse people. So to answer the premise of today's stream, how do you buy the pullback? You wait for the support. This is the support. If this support breaks, 64K is cleared, you're looking at 60K. Okay. Now, there may be reversals somewhere nearby. You may get a reversal somewhere in this area. You may get a reversal somewhere in this area if it breaks, right? You're going to be cognizant of the areas. You're going to look for those price action confirmations, and then you're going to assess your risk. You're going to decide what type of size is appropriate for your account, and then that's it. You place your trade, and it's up to the market from there. Again, this is a swing trade. Investing is another story. Like investing, you have to wait for more attractive levels. I'll just address this very quickly. As an investor, you can always invest at any price, but at current prices, I would not invest large allocations, right? First, you have to have a main allocation, like for example, $10,000, right? And then you have to have your monthly purchase. You have a timed purchase each month to dollar cost average into whatever asset. Of course, you want to pick a healthy asset. That's a good asset, not like some altcoin that can go to zero or some penny stock or whatever. You want something that actually has a future. Okay, I believe Bitcoin does. So we can consider this an investable coin, right? Rather than something else like PP coin, for example. So you would then want to look at your locations and then weight your size allocation based on the location. So we're not at an attractive location for longs. So if you're going to take your allocation for this month, if you haven't, right? Let's say you do it on the middle of the month. If you haven't taken your allocation, you take the smallest bite possible and you define what that is. Okay, maybe it's $100. I'm only buying $100 worth up here, but I have, $10,000 to buy, but I'm not buying it all up here. That would be stupid, right? That would be very irresponsible and you're taking a lot of risk. But if the market pulls back to 66K, and maybe you're into next month, right? And you're early into the month, but you're at a good price. I'll buy 200. I'll buy 300 because I can justify that. We're at a better price. But What if it goes even lower, right? Well, you've made your purchase for that month. So you don't keep buying. You wait to see if you get to the next price, right? And over time, you should be averaging in at more attractive prices. And that's the key, right? So controlling your size based on the location. Better locations, you can justify being somewhat bigger. Bad location, small, or none at all. You have to decide that. Like, I can't tell you exactly how to do that. You have to decide that. Although we are working on something, it's going to take some time, right? I talked to Steen about this. We're gonna come out with like an investing bot, like the Trade Scanner Pro, but an investing version. And the investing version will give you cost averaging levels in advance. So you sort of have, like, it'll map out the plan for you, right? And you'll know in advance, oh, okay, this is where I should be buying. This is where I should stop buying. It can't tell you your allocations, like how much to buy. That's going to be up to you, but it will tell you certain things. Anyway, something we're working on. Okay, cool. Any questions about this? I think I answered Monica's question. Any questions? Guys, don't feel shy. I'm not going to, humiliate you here. I think we're here to answer questions. Remember, I come on here each week to help people, to help you become more aware of what the right information is, the right way to go about doing this. This is a very hard game, especially for traders, right? It takes a long time to become a trader, not because you have to be like, good with numbers or anything. It's because you have to learn how to get all the misinformation out of your head. That's really what it is. We all start out the same way. We all start out with a head full of misinformation. I started out like that too. But when you gain experience, you start to realize what's relevant and what's not. And when you get really good, really, what is being really good? Really good is being able to judge information and recognize whether it's garbage or not. And I've gotten to the point where I know that most information is useless. But many of you are beginners, they have no idea. I can sit here and tell you, but you still don't listen to me. So I can't change your human nature. You have to change it. That's what's so hard about this. That's what's hard. It takes a while to do that, to make those changes, because there are natural behaviors and reactions that you will have to data and information. And as a professional, I'm looking for those reactions so that I could take the other side. That's what professionals do. And it's a contrarian mindset, and it's very hard to adapt to because it's not intuitive. I'll say that again. It's not intuitive. It's not something you're just going to feel out and be like, oh, I kind of feel this way. No, the market is the opposite. So you have to, it's a very tough mindset to adapt, and it takes a while. So that's the hard part. And that's for being a trader, not an investor. Investing is easy, right? Because you just buy something and you check it every once in a while and you feel good about yourself. That's being an investor. Or if it's not doing well, you just don't tell anyone. That's an investor. All right. So anyway, you got that? So we know how to buy this pullback, which means you guys aren't buying here. We're waiting. And we'll see if we get the scenarios that I just described at these pullback levels. And if it pulls back, like let's say this is the farthest it pulls back and it rallies tomorrow, well, then we don't get involved. I don't get involved because it's not at a level that's attractive. The level carries a lot of meaning when it comes to probability. But it doesn't mean that it won't, like if you buy it now and it just so happens to go up at 2,000 points tomorrow, it doesn't mean it won't happen. But the probability of that happening is low. So you have to treat this like a poker table, like a poker game, right? And when you play poker, even if you don't know how to play poker, I can give you a good example. Certain cards carry more value than other cards when you get them before the flop, right? Before the dealer puts the 3 cards on the table to compare your cards to. When you start the hand, the first hand, the dealer gives everyone cards and you have 2 cards, right? And those cards have a value before you see the flop. And people will bet on that value. So certain cards, certain pairs are better than other pairs, right? So if you have 2 aces, that's better. You have the best hand at the table. That's usually the strongest hand pre-flop, okay? Now, that value will change after the flop, but pre-flop, you have the best hand. So if you're going to go all in, or you're going to place a big bet, or you're going to raise if someone else bet in front of you, because table position also matters, but I'm not going to get into that. If you're going to bet big, this is the time to do it, right? Because you have the best possibility of winning with those 2 cards at that moment. But if you have like some weird combination, like 2-6 or 2-8 offsuit, it's garbage. You're not going to, it might work out for you, but over time, if you keep playing that hand big, you're not going to make money. So it's a probability game, right? And you have to understand that. This works very similar. All right, so enough of that rant. Let's see what we got here. So Savi from Brooklyn. I follow and I regret only one thing. I wish I had TradeScanner Pro back. Oh, Savi, that's very nice of you. Now everyone and I watch the stream and I wait for the scanner to confirm the intermediary. Wow, Savi been following me a long time, and he's from Brooklyn. You know, people in New York don't really follow me. They don't like me in New York for some reason. Okay, most of my people are from Romania. Where's that? Where's Alex today? Where's Alex? I don't see Alex from Romania. I used to be very popular there, but New York, not that popular. All right, thanks. That's very nice of you to say, Savi. Thank you. In fact, I'm going to show everyone that. It's a very nice comment from Savi. Okay, since 2017, this guy's been following me. Since 2017. And Savi obviously can tell you that I've been saying the same things. I haven't changed much since then. Maybe some adjustments here and there, but pretty much, you know, just refinements. But I've been saying the same message. And my training program, which is basically around from that time, has the same concepts as well. Okay, it's not like I'm starting out one way and then, you know, changing like a lot of these frauds. Hey, Spiritus, how are you? From Germany. Oh, okay, welcome. I remember I've seen your name before, but I had no idea you were from Germany. Cool. Yeah, if anyone wants to share what city or what country you're from, I usually mention that. It's always a fun fact. I am streaming from the New York City area, greater New York City area, North Jersey. All right. So anyway, all right, cool. I don't see any other questions. Thank you, Savi. It's very nice, very generous compliment. Okay, cool. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. You know, at least some people appreciate what I have to say. All right, so let's move along here. I don't see any questions about this pullback, right? I think all of you people are on the same page. Usually that people that follow me usually are a little more sensible. They're a little more rational, and they understand that there's something more to this game than, you know, the RSI and making $1 million tomorrow, which is what attracts all the TikTok heads, right? So obviously, I'm happy to have more rational people following me because that's who I appeal to. Anyway, let's get into the TradeScanner Pro. And let me explain to you, I'm going to go through this part quickly because I always do it. And by the way, I'm going to be coming out with some training videos. I have a lot on my plate, believe me. I'm going to have training videos that will be available to TradeScanner Pro users. All right, I'm going to have like a free section for people that are on the trial. And then I'm going to have like a premium section for people that are paying for it. Right. So it's not going to cost anything extra for subscribers, but it's going to be more resources to help you better utilize the TradeScanner Pro. And they'll be short videos. They're not going to be like 90 minutes like these streams that I do. They'll be like 5-minute, 10-minute videos. So you guys can have some sort of instruction manual, some sort of manual to go by to help you with things like the settings and knowing what to expect and when to use the modes and all that other stuff, right? So that it's coming. All right, so don't worry, it's coming, and I will have some for the free trial people as well as the people that are on board who are using it now, because my goal is for you to improve your profitability by simplifying the process. That is the whole purpose of the TradeScanner Pro and all the tools that we're working on to develop on top of that, right? Simplicity is very important, especially as a trader. All right, so TradeScanner Pro. First, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change this. As you guys know, I do this every week, right? We're going to change this to a 1-hour chart. And I'm also going to change this market to Bitcoin perp. Now, you could use the TradeScanner Pro on any market, okay? The thing is, the market has to be a moving market. Like you can't, some people pick these coins. What are you looking at? You know, they're like, they have like no volume. Like this is a momentum tool. You need something that moves. So usually high profile markets move. Bitcoin, Ethereum, I don't know, XRP, those are altcoins, right? Certain penny stocks move, right? You have to find ones that are in play. Big names like Amazon, Google, right? Those move. NASDAQ moves. Those things move. They have momentum. That's why I show Bitcoin every week. But if you pick some garbage thing, then you forget trying to day trade it, right? You should be working on a larger time frame to begin with. But anyway, I just want to mention that. Now, so I'm showing the Bitcoin perpetual futures contract. That's what I have here on MEXC, the exchange MEXC. It doesn't matter which exchange you use. And we're going to use this example. Why? Because I want to show you an example of trades with the Trade Scanner Pro based on the 1 minute time frame. So as I said before, you have to choose, you have to know what you're getting into before you even look at charts. I'm going into this with a day trade. I'm looking for a day trade. So I know this in advance. And I'm using day trade as an example, as I explain every week, because I want to show you how this script works and show you all the moving parts and all the action. And if I use a larger time frame, we'll be here for hours and hours and hours. And I don't think you want to hear me talk that long. Okay, although I could probably talk that long. So that's why I'm doing that. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind. It is now almost 4 o'clock, right? Eastern time. It's like 3:45 or whatever. This is not a great time to be involved in Bitcoin, right? Usually you want to work around the market open, the US market open. So volume is typically lower at this time. Trades are going to be harder to come by, especially good trades, right? So it's going to be a little bit more random. That's why the example I'm about to show you is on paper, because I'm not going to put real money at risk at this time. Sometimes I win, sometimes I don't win. Okay, so let's talk about it, because I want to show you how I arrive at a trade idea and how to use this tool properly. First thing is I want to explain to you how the tool works. So let's open up this chart over here, and let me draw you a couple of things. So the Trade Scanner Pro is a trend following momentum reversal system. It's based on concepts that I use in my own trades, whether it's a day trade or a swing trade. All right, you can use this for investing as well, but it's really meant for the active trader. Now, the first thing that it does is it identifies a trend. It's either going to be bullish or bearish. Let me turn it on over here. As you can see on this chart, it says bullish up here. So it will identify a trend. So in the case of a bullish trend, right, that's what this line represents, right? You have a market that makes a higher high and a higher low. That's typical of a bullish trend. Now, the trade scanner looks for this higher low, and it measures the momentum, and it waits for the criteria to meet a reversal. Reversal kind of looks like that, a momentum reversal on the side of the trend, right? When the criteria is met, it then delivers a trade suggestion in the form of orders, or a trade signal in the form of order suggestions. So it starts out with a stop loss. I'll make the stop loss a little tighter, right? Stop loss. It gives you an entry price, which is a blue line that usually looks like that. And then it gives you a profit objective, which is usually 1.5 times your risk. So if your risk is $100, let's say, or 100 points, which is this here, the profit objective would be 150 points. And that number is generated by previous price activity. So how this helps you, for one, is it prevents you from having to guess all this stuff. It's giving you numbers that are generated from the market. So it simplifies your decision-making process. You now know where you should be getting out relative to your time frame. So if you're working on a 1 minute chart, it's going to give you certain parameters. If you're working on a 1 hour chart, it's going to give you certain parameters relative to that chart. So it always keeps you within reason, right? First of all, so that's one of the biggest values. Now understand something, that the Trade Scanner Pro is not a forecasting tool. Please listen carefully to what I'm saying. It's not a forecasting tool. It is a confirmation and order management tool. That's where it simplifies your process. You still have to come to the table with an idea. And that's going to be the case for most of these types of tools. Although people are very happy to lie to you and say, oh, my tool, 99% win rate, nonsense, blah, 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 right? And then you buy it and it doesn't work. This, you have to come with the idea, and then you have to confirm. This confirms your idea and gives you your exit points based on your time frame. In this stream, I'm going to show you how to come up with the idea, as I do in every stream. You can go back and watch all my recent streams. So this is how it works. Now, one thing that makes the Trade Scanner Pro special is, let me take these orders away, is there's something called counter trend mode. And counter trend mode will ignore the trend and call this signal right here, right? The turning point from the initial, whatever, like the first leg higher, right? This initial leg, right? At some point it has to pull back. So it will call that as a trade instead and ignore the trend. And you say, well, how is that special? Well, there are certain situations where counter trend mode can help you align with the bigger picture and improve your probability of the bigger picture type of trade. So let me just give you a quick example. Let's say you're pulling back into a major support level on Bitcoin, like 64K, but you're looking at your smaller time frames. Your smaller time frames are showing a bearish trend on your 1 minute chart. Meanwhile, your 4-hour chart is still bullish, right? Or your daily chart may still be bullish or whatever, but your 1 minute is bearish, but you're at 64K. You know that that's a support level, but the Trade Scanner Pro is not going to show you longs unless you reverse your mode into counter trend mode, right? And then that will show you longs at the bigger picture level where you're expecting longs, right? You switch to counter trend mode because you're anticipating a type of behavior. Counter trend mode, as I pointed out the week before, is best used at support and resistance levels. So if you're not at a pre-identified support or resistance level, then you don't use counter trend mode. To keep it simple, right? You use trend mode. Now, I'm showing you here a 1-hour chart, right? Now, let me show you something. Before I get into all the details, let me show you this. When you first get the Trade Scanner Pro, this is what your settings panel looks like. It's very important that you turn these things on because it's got a bunch of important features, right? It has the trailing stop. By the way, you could change the colors of all kinds of things with this, right? Which Stian was nice enough to program into that. Stian put this together, by the way, and without him, we wouldn't have this amazing tool. So thank him again. If you don't want to give him a donation, at least thank the guy. All right, so you turn on the trailing stop because these are all set to off when you first get this thing, right, on your free trial. Then you put on show previous trades, right, and you turn on heads up. Here, this box over here, that's the counter trend box. So you're only going to turn that on if you're specifically looking for a counter trend or a reversal at a support or resistance. So we'll get to that more in a moment, but that's when you would turn that on. So you don't automatically turn it on. You don't take a trade signal for the sake of taking a trade signal. Again, very important. You must come in with your own analysis or your own idea before you use this, right? And then this box up here, show trend, is what generates this little box up here that tells you the trend. Okay, so I turned all my features on, and so I can explain to you real quick the previous trades. That's pretty straightforward. You roll over these arrows, right, and that shows you a previous trade. So you can see how has this previous trade played out. What does this say here? Was this a profit or a lose? Oh, this was a profit, a 717-point profit. Nice. That started here on the hourly chart. Nice. Okay, so that, by the way, that assumes that it went to the profit objective, right? So sometimes what happens is we have this thing called the trailing stop that I pointed out before. Okay, the trailing stop. See this? And the trailing stop, the idea behind that is if the trade wants to go beyond the profit objective, you could make more. So instead of 1.5 to 1, this thing opens up the possibility of making 2 to 1, making 3 to 1. In fact, you could set those price objectives by changing this number here, the 1.5. If you go back to your settings, there's a number right here, right? It says reward ratio. See that right there? You can change that to 2. That would be 2 to 1. So it would put your orders 2 to 1 apart or 3 to 1. If you find what I'm saying confusing, don't worry. Like, you don't have to change anything if you're a beginner. But I just wanted to put that out there. All right, so you have the previous trades. That's cool. Then you have these orange candles that are generating these green lines. That's the heads up. That gives you a heads up that a signal is likely to appear in the next 3 to 5 candles. That's a really cool feature because it prepares you. It doesn't guarantee that a signal will appear, or it doesn't guarantee that the signal will be successful, but it lets you know that a signal is coming. Look at this. Look at all this warning. Okay, so a signal on the hourly is coming soon. Now you're like, well, but it's moving right now. Right, and there's no signal on the hourly. But the point is, that's how the features work, right? So let's now get, if you have any questions, please let me know. Hey, Thea, good to see you. From an old student. Oh, okay. Nice to see you. And thanks for saying hello. So again, people, if you have questions about what I'm going through here, please don't be shy. I'm here to answer. I'm here to teach you each week about how to use this tool. And this is your opportunity to ask any question. I'm not going to get annoyed. Now, so we have this action right here, right? Oh, look, it's going higher. How come I'm not doing anything? Well, there's no signal here on this time frame. Notice I'm not in counter trend mode. I'm in trend mode because I have to actively put it on counter trend mode. So, like I said before, you have to come with your own analysis. You have to come with your own idea. Let's arrive at the idea. Like I said before, I'm interested in a day trade. So if I'm interested in a day trade, I mean, I could take a day trade on an hourly chart, but typically when you take a day trade, ooh, look at this. You're working on a 1 minute chart, 3-minute chart, 5-minute chart, or 15-minute chart, something like that. I recommend a 15-minute chart for beginners because you can set your notifications like this, right? For a signal, you click this button right here on TradingView, and then you click this over here and you put Trade Scanner Pro, and then you can select how you want to receive a notification, and you can get it by email, you can get a pop-up on your app, whatever, and that's really the best way to use this. You don't sit in front of your computer for 3 hours waiting for a signal. You let this thing tell you. This thing will give you the heads up. This thing will tell you when a signal appears. This thing will also tell you when a take profit or a stop loss is reached, okay? So that's, I highly encourage you to use that feature when you're working on a 15-minute chart. But for purposes of this example, I'm working on a 1-minute chart, so we're not going to be using that, right? And by the way, if you have the premium version of TradingView, that's where you get the benefit, because on the free version, you can only set one notification. Please remember what I just said. On the free version, you can only set one notification. On the premium version of TradingView, you can set more than one. So it's not required, but it may be helpful for some people, especially if you're watching multiple markets. All right, now, as a day trader, what I'm trying to do here now is I'm trying to get context. This is the most important step to surfacing our trade idea. To find our trade idea, I need context. So to get context, I'm not going to look on a 1-minute chart, which is the chart here on the right. I'm going to look at my hourly chart. Now, so the idea here is you want to be working with 2 time frames. One to gather context or clues, the other to take action. So the larger time frame is for your clue or your idea. The smaller time frame is where you're going to take action and define risk, right? Now, you don't have to use the hourly and the 1 minute. You can use a 30-minute. You can use a 2-hour. You decide, but 1 hour is appropriate when I'm dealing with a 1 minute. So let's just keep it at that. Now, with my hourly chart, I want to first arrive at an idea. So I need to do some work here, okay? Let's identify trend. Okay, that's pretty easy. The trade scanner says the trend is bullish on this time frame. All right. Do I agree with that? Well, yeah, look at this move. Higher lows, higher highs all over the place, right? Some people may say, whoa, but this is bearish over here. That's a bearish leg, but the general trend on this time frame is bullish, right? And I agree with that. So, okay, good to know. Like I said before, there are 2 components, trend, and then there's support and resistance levels. This is now the key part to using the Trade Scanner Pro, identifying the support and resistance. I have support over here. That's pretty clear. We had this little double bottom situation, whatever you want to call it. Price bounced off that level. That's support on the hourly. Okay. Now, all that stuff we talked about earlier on the daily is not relevant now, because now I'm thinking in day trader mode. So I'm going to be working with more refined support and resistance levels for the purpose of working on a 1-minute chart. So we can refer to these as minor support and resistance. Now, there may be occasions where we align with a major level like the 64K. But remember earlier we talked about 67K, and Monica asked, what about that level? Well, now that level carries some relevance on this, because I'm working on smaller time frames. And we saw their bounce. Where'd that bounce come from? Right? That bounce came from 67K. Let's put that on the chart here. Where is 67K? This is 67K right here. Right? This line, this area right here. So that level is going to be relevant for my 1-minute trade. Does that make sense? So when you're working with smaller time frames, you're going to be working with minor levels. Be aware of the levels. We're identifying them right now. You don't have to sit there with your daily chart and be like, oh, I got to have 20 million levels on here. No, we're only really interested in putting on 4 levels, right? A support 1, a support 2, a resistance 1, and a resistance 2. Here's resistance 1, and we can argue resistance 2 is up here. Okay, is that the 69K? Yeah, that's the 69K. So those are our levels. Can we argue that there are other levels? Yeah, we can argue that there's something in here. Look, in this midpoint area, there's something in here. Okay, so to make it less confusing, let's erase these. And let's say, okay, look, this right now, this area right here, this line that I'm drawing right here, there's something there. Because why? Look at all the reactions. Look at all the reactions. That's all we're looking for, reactions, right? And if history repeats itself, we may get a reaction here, but it's minor though. It's minor. It's not major. So keep that in mind. How do I use that? Well, if I'm long, for example, this may be a good place to sell, to take profits, right? But as far as counter trend mode goes, that level is probably not going to be significant enough. I need a major level for counter trend. Keep that in mind. So like a level up here, 69K, that would be more appropriate for counter trend. Does that make sense? Or if I'm sitting right at 67K, if I'm sitting right at this level, right? Like I'm fooling around in this area with those pin bars, that may be appropriate for counter trend mode on my 1 minute, okay? Or the lower level. Oh, look, I got a signal. On the hourly, interesting, okay? See how it popped up? So I had the warning, I had the heads up. See how that popped up? Okay, but again, I'm trying, don't be confused by that. In fact, I'm gonna turn that off because I'm only interested in gathering context. I want to take the trade on the 1 minute, okay? You could take the trade on the hourly, but you saw where the risk was. Look at the risk. Let's measure this. What is that? How much is that? That's 828 points of risk on the hourly. I don't want to take that type of risk. The 1 minute is going to be much smaller. I'm interested in the 1 minute. All right, so I'm going to turn this off so we don't have to deal with the confusion. All right, so following me so far? So based on this, right, we know the trend is bullish. I know I have some support around here somewhere, 67K, somewhere around here, right? And I know I have some resistance in this midpoint area, and I have some resistance up here. Those are levels I'm working with, right? Now, are we sitting right on this support? Are we sitting right on it? We're not. What does that mean? Can anyone tell me? Let's see if you guys are paying attention. What does that mean? I'm not sitting on the support. So when it comes to counter trend mode or trend mode, what mode do you think I should be in? And anyone can answer this, you know, Steen if you want, or Savi or whatever. I usually like to let beginners try to answer this, but this may be a tough question for a beginner. So anyone, feel free to answer the question. What mode should I be in for my Trade Scanner Pro for my 1 minute? Should I be in trend mode, or do you think I should be in counter trend mode? I'm going to adjust these. I'm going to adjust these a little bit to make it a little more understandable. Trend mode, Lad said. Okay, that's a good answer, Lad, but why? Why trend mode? Why? Can you tell me why? Real quick, like a brief answer. Why? Why should I be in trend mode right now? Let's see. That's a good answer. He's correct. But why? So again, this is what I'm asking here is very important. If you're trying the Trade Scanner Pro out, if you want to get best results, you need to understand what I'm explaining right now. Otherwise, you're going to get random results. And you're like, oh, this thing sucks. And you're going to cancel it in 3 hours like some people do. I'm like, man, what's this guy? That's why, you know, I don't blame them. I blame myself because I don't have appropriate training materials out there, and I'm going to work on that. So believe me, I'm not blaming you. I need to improve in certain areas. Okay. This is upward. Trend mode. No support resistance. Okay, Savi, so you guys got it. There's no support and resistance here. As I talked about the week before, we're not sitting on this level. We're not touching this level. We're not touching this level. We're in the middle. So when we're in the middle like that and we don't have a support and resistance that we're sitting on, then I resort to whatever the trend is, right? What is the trend? Let's go to my 1 minute now. All right, here's my 1 minute. What does the trend say here on the 1 minute? Bullish. So that gives me my answer. I don't need to be in counter trend mode. Now, maybe if we were here in this area, I should consider counter trend mode if my trend changes. You have to keep an eye on this trend. It changes, especially on the 1 minute. It changes a lot. Okay, so if you're in counter trend mode, if you're in trend mode, right, and trend turns to bearish and you start pushing this support, but you're looking for longs, that is when you would change. But right now, we're not at a level, so I'm interested in trend mode, which I'm in automatically, right? So let me make sure, let me go to my settings here, make sure everything is turned on, because it's not. Okay, so I'm turning everything on, and I'm leaving counter trend mode off because I want to be in trend mode. Now look at this. There was a warning back here. I never got a signal for that on a 1 minute. Now, look. Let's just look back here and see, like, how have some of these signals performed on the 1 minute? There's going to be a lot more signals on the 1 minute, and you can't take them all. They're going to be highly random. This is why I don't suggest the 1 minute for beginners. So look, this was a profit of 157 points. What about this one? This one gave back 100 points. Oh, that sucks. What about this one? This was a short. This one gave back 95 points, right? What about this one? This one here was a short. What is that? 78 points, right? So it gave back on these three trades. That's why you can't take all the trades. You have to be aligned with an idea, all right? So the trend, obviously, with these red ones was bearish at the time, okay? It was bearish, but counter trend mode, if I go to counter trend mode, let me just show you something real quick. Most likely, there's a signal. Now in counter trend mode, look at this. Bearish, 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 calling longs. Look at this long right here, right at the bottom. Why should we be in counter trend mode there? Because we're at the support. Look at this one. What a coincidence, right? So that's the value of counter trend mode. Let me take it off now because we're interested in trend only, right? So we're clear now, right? Let me know, guys, if you have questions about this. This can be confusing for people, but that's why I like to spend a lot of time on trend mode and counter trend mode. All right. So we're on a 1 minute chart and I want to go long. There's a little pullback situation here. I got no signal. Okay, but I know I'm interested in longs. What do? Well, if I wasn't gonna, if I had all day to stream, then the answer would be I will wait for the next signal. But how far are these signals apart from each other? Look, from this one to this one, 32 minutes. Each candle is 1 minute. How about this one to this one? 46 minutes. I'm not going to wait here 45 minutes for a signal. Okay. So what do I have to do? Well, I'm going to do something here that, again, I don't suggest, but I'm going to have to go to a smaller time frame below 1 minute because I want to demonstrate how the script works. So I go to a 15-second chart. Oh, look, a signal on a 15-second chart. So let's just look at this real quick. What's happening? I have a signal that it's in the middle of it. So I really shouldn't be buying it now. If I was going to buy it, I should have bought it here at the blue line, right? But it caught the pullback, and look, it's in play. You notice, let's see, what is the risk on this? Remember the risk on the hourly chart was 800 and something points? This risk here is 67 points, okay? So 67 points on a 15-second chart versus 800 and something points on an hourly chart. That is the allure of working on a smaller time frame. The risk is theoretically smaller. Now, you notice this orange line, okay? That's the trailing stop. It just moved. So if I had taken this trade at this blue line, instead of talking like I do, I talk too much, right? This trade would be a break-even trade right now because look at the trailing stop. See the trailing stop? It's at the blue line. So theoretically, this is a risk-free trade if I had gotten in at the appropriate price. Because I have not gotten in, I'm not going to chase this. I'll just wait for another signal. On a 15-second, I can wait because usually you get a lot of signals on a smaller time frame. Look at this one. Look at this one over here. That was a nice one. How much was this one worth? 46-point profit on that one. Okay, that's, again, when you look at those moves, right? It's telling you the profit based on the profit objective. All right, so that just got broken even. I wasn't in it, so all right, no problem. But this move here, if I play this back, let's just go back for a minute because you can do. By the way, replays. You can only do replays on the free version of TradingView on like the daily time frame. In order to do smaller time frames, you have to have a premium version of TradingView. So let's just do that real quick. Okay, I want to do a replay. on the 15-second chart. So you guys can see how that signal played out. Here's the signal. Look at this. This was that 46-point winner, okay? But now look at this for a moment. Let's see how this actually looked. So look, it kind of worked for you, broke even, right? It was messing around, right? It went to the profit objective, okay? Look at that. Went to the profit objective twice. That's your 46-point profit right there. But what happens with the trailing stop, though? Look, it's gone beyond the profit objective. Look at the trailing stop following it. So look at this. So it wants to continue. So it's worth more than 46 points. How much more? Let's see. How much is this worth right here? This is really like the value of the Trade Scanner Pro is this right here. So at this point, it's at 58 points. All right. It's a little bit more. Let's see. Does it continue? Let's see. Or does it get stopped out? Interesting. How about there? No, it's still in. It's still in. Oh, man. Okay. Let's see. When does this thing get stopped out? So look at this, right? So again, the Trade Scanner Pro was reporting a 48-point profit. At this moment here, this thing is worth 140 points. If you got that's if you get taken out here at the trailing stop. So if you were still in the trade, it was worth at the peak 257 points. Remember what your original risk was? Your original risk was 33 points. So that's like, what, more than 10 to 1? It's almost 10 to 1, okay? Like at 300 points, you'd be at 10 to 1, right? Look at this. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. That is the special thing. That is really like the main, that's like what this thing opens up the opportunity to capture. Look at this. Look at this. Where does this thing stop out? I mean, this thing was going berserk, right? Eventually, it's going to get stopped out. At this point, if you get stopped out here, how much is that worth? Let's see. 321 points. So that's 10. That's more than 10 to 1, right? Or it's about 10 to 1 on based on your stop. Okay, and it gets stopped out. Oh, not yet. How about now? Still in. Still in. Right? You have all that time to get out. Okay, stops out. So that was a 10 to 1 trade. That's the magic of the Trade Scanner Pro. Okay, now not all trades are going to work out like that. Let me turn this thing off now. Not all trades are going to work out like that, but when you capture one, that's way better than you're going to do on your own. The idea is not to capture those big trades. It's just nice when you capture one, right? They come along here and there, but it's about keeping your risk smaller or constantly reducing your risk while capturing more wins. And the only way to capture more wins is by aligning yourself with the right idea first. And your right idea may be wrong, or you may get stopped out a couple of times, right? That was a counter trend trade, by the way. That 300 and something point trade was a counter trend mode trade, which came from that level. Do you guys see that? Do you guys see that? Okay. So I'm still waiting for a signal, right? I'm waiting for a new signal. I'm on the 15-second chart. So that signal should come soon. Now notice, my trend changed on the 15-second chart. Notice my trend is bearish. So if I'm looking for longs, I need to be in counter trend mode now. Or let's go back to the 1 minute. This hasn't changed yet. Okay. So let's take a look at the 30-second chart. Okay, we got a warning there. So I'm going to stick with the 30-second chart, and we're still in bullish here. If this thing turns bearish on me on this time frame, then I have to switch to counter trend mode, because I'm interested in the trend on the 1 minute chart, right? Because that's the momentum I'm trying to play. Should I go bearish on something like this? Well, I need to be very careful with that, because really I'm trying to work with the 1 minute, right? This is the 1 minute, and the trend is still bullish on the 1 minute. When you're working with a sub time frame, like a sub 1 minute, the trend is not going to be as meaningful because it changes way too much. It's too random, right? So at the 1 minute is appropriate. You want to be matched with that, okay? Since we have no levels nearby, right? So this would be one of those exception situations where you have to switch to counter trend mode to stay aligned with the 1 minute. But right now, this is still aligned. Does that make sense? I got bullish up here, and it's trying to give me a bullish signal, which is coming soon. Also, what I like about this area is a failed low, right? You can use some extra technical arguments if you want. This is a failed low relative to this low. So I like that. Okay, I'm waiting for my signal. Now, while I'm waiting, if you're interested in the Trade Scanner Pro, here, I'm going to put the link here in the chat. Okay, so you can go to this link. You type it in. If I spell it right, can't see here. Okay, TSCPRO. This is the link. Right? That's the link. If you go to this link, that will take you to this page right here. Right? This is the Trade Scanner Pro sign up page on my website. It explains how it works, tells you a little bit about me, and then it takes you over here to this. Right? You can sign up for 14 days for free. It's $22.50 a month if you pay 1 year in advance. That comes to $270 up front, or it's $30 a month. So you could save 25% just by buying the yearly, subscribing to the yearly. These are subscriptions. The thing is that $30 a month, I'm going to change the price. We're going to raise that price. Now, I've been saying that for weeks, but once we have our extensions, the overlays that Steen is working on, when we have them and they're available, the price is going up. So if you want to lock in this price, now's your chance. Now, you click on subscribe now, and this thing will take you to this page right here, the sign up page. Make sure you put your TradingView username in this field. You must put the correct TradingView username, not your email, not your name. It has to be the TradingView username that you use. Otherwise, you will not get an invite, okay? And then I'll get an email from you, oh, where's my invite? Make sure you put that in properly, and it takes usually 30 minutes to an hour, usually sooner, but 30 minutes to an hour, and you'll receive your invite on TradingView. So, hey, Janet says, what is the Trade Scanner Pro take into account in the programming of the trailing stop? We know that one ATR, oh, okay. So, well, the trailing stop, I'm not going to go into details on that. I mean, that's sort of a formula we use, but it's the trailing stop is not really based on the ATR. It's got a more, I'd say, a little more complexity than that. Okay, that's all I'll say. But it's a good question, though. So I would recommend trying it out. Oh, there's a signal while I'm talking. Now, let's see what's going on here before I jump in. So we have this long signal, all right, which I've been looking for. I don't like the current candle, though. So I don't have to jump in if I don't like the candle. And by the way, you have to respect the orders for this thing, like for this thing to work. If these are order suggestions, the bot is not placing the orders for you. We're not there yet. We're working on that. But I have to respect the orders. So if I bought this and it went straight to the stop, I have to get out. But again, this is a 30-second chart. Look at that. It stopped right out. All right, no problem. I never got in because I was looking at these candles and I don't like the candles, right? You can use some judgment. Now, just because one stopped out like that, let's see, how does this thing report that? Oh, that's a 50-point loss. All right, whatever. But I never took the trade. There is the possibility where you can avoid these trades by just using some basic judgment. Like, okay, I don't like these candles. Okay, now I'm waiting for another signal. Maybe we'll get one. I'm on a 30-second. Keep in mind, this is a 30-second chart. Or if I use a 15-second chart, we're going to get a lot of signals on these charts, and many of them are going to be random. That's one of the drawbacks and why I do not recommend using such small time frames. This is really for more advanced traders. You can do just fine with a 15-minute chart, which is what I recommend, okay? I just want to show you how this thing works so you can see it in action. And I can take a trade. And it's easy for me to show trades after the fact. And be like, oh, look at this 10 million point trade. Amazing, right? Like I just showed you. But I like to show you trades that develop in real time because I don't know what's coming. Sure, I can cherry pick and show you good trades after the fact. And there's plenty of bad trades on the chart that I can show you, right? Again, so we're dealing with a random situation here. But I came with my idea, and I want to demonstrate to you that first you come with the idea, you wait for the signal, you use some judgment, and then once you're in, it's up to the market. It's up to the order suggestions that are placed in front of you. There's no more guessing at that point. You're either going to get stopped out, or you're going to reach the take profit, or you're going to reach the trailing stop. Okay? You don't have to use a trailing stop. You can turn that feature off if you want to. There's a lot of custom features on here, but I would say, for the more advanced user, like that's really where you want to make those adjustments. If you're a beginner, just turn the basic things on, and really that's all you need. So I'm waiting for the signal. We got no signal yet. How much time we got? All right, I'm over I wanted to do an hour, but like I said, the market usually keeps me in longer because the market, we're on the market's time here. All right. So we're going to wait for another signal. So again, let me know if you have any other questions. This is a good question about the trailing stop. But yeah, it's a more complex formula, and it works. It is based on price movement as well. So I like the way it works. It works pretty well. Of course, when there's momentum, the idea behind it, look, you could use candlesticks and say, okay, the bottom go 2 candlesticks back, and use the low of 2 candlesticks back, and eventually get stopped out. I mean, you could just do that manually. The nice thing of using the Trade Scanner Pro is it's all thought out for you. So it gives you a definitive line, get out here. So you don't have to sit there and second guess. I mean, really, you could use any formula. There's lots of formulas you can use, right? There's no magic behind this, but what it does is it gives you definitive reference points. So you can make a decision based on something you can see. That's basically incorporating market action rather than you resorting to intuition or feelings, which is not a good mix for a random environment. Trust me. All right. So any other questions? That's a good question. Any other questions? I'm waiting for my signal here. My trend hasn't changed yet. Always got to keep an eye on that. Again, I'm on a 30-second chart, and this can change constantly on a 30-minute chart. I can change every 5 minutes. That could be a new trend. And that can be problematic, especially if you're a beginner and you're going to get very confused by that. When you're on a larger time frame, this is not going to change so quickly, right? That's not going to change so quickly. Another thing you'll notice up here is the word conflict, right? Does it say it there? Yeah, conflict. Some people ask me what that means. So conflict means that the price is going against the trend right now, okay? So the trend is bullish, and we've been getting bearish price action. When we get that type of situation, you're going to see conflict. So conflict to basically give you a heads up that the trend may be changing, maybe, but doesn't guarantee it's going to change, but it might be on this time frame. So remember, this time frame doesn't carry a lot of weight. You have to keep that in mind. But that's what conflict is there for. I don't know. I mean, that confuses people. I don't know if I'm going to keep that, but that's what it's there for. Okay, so it lets you know that the price action is working against the trend and that the trend may change soon. Okay, like if this keeps going and keeps pushing lows, the trend is going to change to bearish. But on a 30-second chart, it's like, all right, I'm trying to align with the 1 minute, right? Oh, look, I got a signal on the 1 minute. How come no one told me that? So, all right, I'll work with the 1 minute. Now let's see. Let's judge what's going on here before I jump in. I'm not going to just jump in. So we got this bearish candle, right? So the 1 minute closed. Let's see, how old is this 1 minute? Called it back here. Okay, so the 1 minute started, this trade started back here like 5 minutes ago. See what happens when I talk too much? All right, no problem. And we're pulling back a bit. So this may give me an opportunity to get in maybe at a slightly better price. But here's what I want to do. I'm not going to just jump in on the red candle because this momentum may continue. The trend on that 1 minute is still bullish. Okay, good. That's good. That's what I want to see. Because if it changes to bearish, then I'll have to switch to counter trend mode. And I'm trying to avoid doing that to make the example simpler. Right? So in this situation, we have a lower high. You can argue, oh, this structure is bearish. Yes, it is. But this trend is still bullish. So I want to see if the trend resumes. And for me to get long, I need to see a bullish candle. Right? I'm not going to get long on a bearish candle like this. So I want to see something like this, bullish. Give me a bullish candle, I'll go long. Okay. What do you think about 500 pips behind for trailing stop for swing trade on an hourly chart? Well, 500 pips, 500 points is might be a little tight. It really depends on the market. Like the Trade Scanner Pro said 800 and something, but 500, if you don't like 800 and something and you want to tighten it up to 500, okay, just realize when you tighten it up a bit, you do increase your chances of getting stopped out somewhat, because you're kind of going you're going against the natural market movement, right? Because that's where this thing generates from previous price action. That's where it comes up with its range. If you don't like, maybe go to a 30-minute chart then, and then you'll have a smaller risk, right? Because a 30-minute chart is going to give you a smaller risk than the 1 hour. Maybe you find a time frame that matches more what you want. Oh, look at that. Okay, I need to be long. So where's my trade panel here? Does this thing turn off on me? Oh, I think my paper trade thing is off. Oh yeah. Okay, I thought I had this thing on. All right. Well, I can't actually take the trade. Right now I have to turn the paper trade thing back on. But all right, you get the idea. You see what I was trying to do here. This green candle was really where I should be long from. So let's talk about that from that green candle. Right? What price is this? The close of that green candle, 67,644. Okay, and right now we're at 690. So it's up like 50 points or whatever. All right. Let's see how this plays out. Okay. If it goes to the profit objective, that's where I should be getting out. If I had two contracts, this is the futures contract, right? So if I have two contracts, I want to at least get out of one, the profit objective. It's usually a good idea. And then you let the trailing stop run and see if it goes further. Sometimes it doesn't go much further. But again, it's random. That's, again, the great thing about this is it opens up that opportunity for you rather than you saying, well, I think it's going to do this. It doesn't matter what we think. All that matters is what the market is actually doing. And the Trade Scanner Pro positions you to capitalize on what the market is doing, not what you think. You just have to come to the market with an idea. Okay, so this isn't going very far. Let's see what happens here. Now it's going back to my entry price. So we're assuming that I was long from this little green candle here. So it's back there. All right, it happens. It's random. It may go straight to the stop. All right, but I'm still in this, right? I'm not going to react to the candle. What I like to do in these situations, if this was real, is if I got another green candle, like in this area right here, like another green candle, I would buy another one. I would use that as an opportunity to add. Like if I got another green candle like that, I would use that as an opportunity to add. So we'll see. Let's see if I get that. Okay. So we'll give this a few more minutes. So again, if you want to try out the Trade Scanner Pro, there's a link in the description. I got the link here on the screen. You can try it out for 14 days for free. You can cancel anytime. But I recommend that you try to use it for at least 5 days or something. I mean, you have 14 days. But if you cancel it within a few hours, you're not going to get anywhere with anything if that's your attention span. I'm so sorry to tell you. I just have to tell you, don't waste your time. Okay, so I don't have to look at my email and be like, oh, I got a guy. Oh, he canceled in 3 hours. Okay, so look, there's that green candle I was talking about. Let's see if it closes green. It has to close, and that's when I would add. Okay, what I'm showing you here is a little more advanced. As a beginner, don't add. Just try to find a trend trade, or if you're in a counter trend situation, experiment with that. I would recommend doing this on paper. Don't do it with real money, because you have to get you have to understand how the process works from first making a decision as to what type of trade you're looking for, then coming to the table with an idea, and then using this thing to confirm your idea. Right? You have to get those 3 steps straight first before you're going to do anything with this. Because again, we're playing with random price action. So random price action is similar to playing with a slot machine. That's what we're doing here. Whether you like to admit that or not, that's what's happening here. People in the Forex world, especially, they like to pride themselves. Oh, I'm smart. I'm an economist, right? And they play that game. It's like you're gambling like everyone else, man. It's gambling. But unlike a slot machine, we do have a choice where we can decide or measure when a probability may be more in our favor. You can't do that with a slot machine, right? So that's one thing where it's not similar. But if you're taking any price action, then most of the time it is like a slot machine, most of the time. Okay, so you're trying to align with the probabilities so that you can do better than 50%. That's our goal. All right, is that a green candle close? Yes. All right, so let's say I would add one here at 67,632. All right, so let's say I have two now, two contracts, let's say. And so far, it wants to hold that level right there. All right, that's what it wants to do. Now, keep in mind, if you don't like something, you're in this thing, and you want to get out earlier, you always have that choice. But people get confused often, or they just get like, I don't know what to do, and they become indecisive. That's why we have these suggestions. If you're wrong, you get out here, and you respect it. That's it. There are many trades that don't work out, okay? But you have to respect that. That's very important. Because like we talked about earlier, that 67K support, if that breaks, right, and it's a minor support, that breaks, we're looking for a 64K move, right? A move to 64K. If you're long a 1 minute chart and it goes through your stop and you hold on to it, it'll come back. It'll come back. You're running the risk of this thing going to 64K over the next few days, and you don't want to get caught in that. So when you choose a time frame, it's very important to stick to that time frame, and you follow the trade through, whether it's a win or you lose, whatever, and you're out, you're done, because you may be at a very, very vulnerable location on the bigger picture, like we are here. This is not a location to hold the next day. Oh, I'll be right. The market will come back. This is not the place to play around with that idea. Now, if we were at 64K and you got long, and you're like, oh, it went against you. Oh, I'll hold on to it. Okay, well, 64K, at least you have a chance that this thing will go to 65K. It's a major support. Or 60K, it's a major support. But not 67K, not 69K. That's where you have to put your bigger picture hat back on and realize where you are in the bigger picture. Beginners have a hard time with that. And I understand. When I was a beginner, I could not work on multiple time frames. Like, I had no idea. Like, I was, very like, compartmentalized. I don't know. I can't say that word, but it's like, okay, if I'm in this time frame, I can only do this time frame. If I'm on that time frame, I was not able to put all the time frames together. That's something that takes time. Now I can. So now, no matter what time frame I'm on, I know where I am. On bigger picture, smaller picture, and I know what that means in terms of risk. And that takes some time to develop. Okay. All right. So look, this we're just fooling around here. There's nothing really happening. It tries to work its way up a bit, gives it back. These are 1 minute candles. They're going to look a little more dramatic, right? But there's really nothing happening here. So we'll give this a few more minutes. If it doesn't really perform, then I'll just give the official, I'm blowing it out, and then we'll be done with it. Okay. And then I have to set up my paper trade thing. I don't know what I had it set up, and I guess I turned it off by mistake. I like to actually take the trade so we can see the P&L fluctuating around. But all right. So let's see if what this thing does. If this thing blows this support right here, maybe I'll get out. Let's see, maybe. But I'm at that point, I'm not dealing with the orders anymore, right? And now I'm making my own decision. Again, you could do that, but if you're new, I suggest just waiting for that or waiting for this. Okay. That's the beauty of it. This reduces your learning curve so that you don't have to figure out all this other stuff. And let me tell you, like as Savi can tell you here, it can take many years to figure out how to do what this thing is doing for you. That was the whole premise, right? When I put the trade scanner bot idea together, it was to reduce the learning curve. We took the bot and we basically turned it into the script here so that people can adjust it and use it on any market they want. We still have the bot, by the way. Like I said, you can get free emails from it, and we're going to develop the bot further. But the bot is more for hands-off people that don't want to get their hands dirty like this here. They'd rather just get an email. Oh, okay, here are the orders, and then follow that, and then you're good to go. Felipe, how are you? I will buy the pullback at 50% fib levels on the 1 minute chart. Okay, you can do that. But, if you step in front of that, you realize you're still playing a random game. if you're not waiting for confirmation. See, one cool thing you can do is if you have the 50% level in mind, you can use the bot, you can use the script to confirm there or not. That's a nice way to use, because again, this is a confirmation tool. Okay, it's not a forecasting tool. And the 50% line of a structure can be an attractive area, but it can also be irrelevant, right? And price can randomly blow through a level, especially when we're dealing with 1 minute time frame or smaller time frames. The levels don't really mean a whole lot. They're brief, like they're temporarily meaningful. Like that 67K low, it's temporary. Okay, we had this nice bounce off of it. It made a lot of money or whatever. Okay, cool. It's temporary though. It may touch it again and blow right through it because it's not a heavy duty level. A heavy duty level is something that we identify like on a daily time frame, like the 64K. That's a level that I expect a lot more out of if we get there, right? Because historically, it's proven that. Just like 69K, 68K is a major resistance. Historically, it's proven that. Now, at some point, it will change, and then we will adjust. But right now, that's the story that the market tells us. I don't tell the market what to do. It tells me what to do, okay? That's why I don't pretend to be right. I simply follow, right? I follow what the market says. The market says it. If I misinterpret it, I adjust because the market is always right. That's why my TradingView article the week before, I called for a short going to 60K, and this thing went vertical the other way. I was completely wrong, but I was wrong because some unexpected news came out, news I could not have foreseen, and it went vertical the wrong way, right? That's called random. Unless the president of China had called me and told me previously what they were going to announce, then I could have gotten on the right side. I'm sure someone knew that information. Okay. Anyway, any questions? So as you can see, look, this trade is just fluctuating around, right? You can see the trailing stop is now getting in on the action here. See the trailing stop starting to come up a bit. The trailing stop takes some time, and it reduces the risk. Candle by candle, this trailing stop is going to continue to rise as each candle advances, right? It's based on the close of the candle. Candle has to close. So the trailing stop has now reduced my risk by a tiny amount. All right. So instead of, let's see, what was my original risk on this? 76 points is my original risk. The trailing stop has reduced that to what? 68 points. Not a big deal, not much of a reduction. But as time goes along here, if the market doesn't really go my way, or if the market just kind of fluctuates around here, the trailing stop will continue to rise and continue to reduce my risk. And you say, well, what good is that? Well, if my trailing stop, for example, goes to the midpoint of my risk gap, and I get stopped out for half of what I originally risked, that would be about 35 points or whatever, right? What happens is when the next time I reach one of these profit objectives, that basically means I'm making 3-to-1 reward risk. If I'm cutting my risk in half, my profit objective is not changing. So what happens is I'm now turning a 1.5-to-1 to a 3-to-1 reward risk. And that may be an abstract concept, hard for people to understand, but that's a very valuable thing. Now, it's hard to think that something is valuable when you're losing money. I understand. But you have to look at this over a population of trades, not one trade. You have to look at this over what effect does this have when you examine that over 1,000 trades or 2,000 trades, like a large population of trades. What effect does that have? That's the effect. It reduces your risk and basically expands your reward risk because the profit objective is not shrinking. Okay, the risk is shrinking. So it naturally puts you in a situation that helps you bias your reward risk in your favor. Okay, and we need everything we can get in our favor, especially in this game, especially in a game that's really, really weighed against us. All right. So this market's very quiet. I'm not going to sit here all day and wait for this thing to go to the profit objective, although maybe it goes there now. The market has a habit of doing things when I turn off the stream. So, all right. So I mean, look, it looks nice, but we haven't cleared this little level yet here. This little minor peak, we haven't cleared that yet. Maybe we clear it now. and maybe we go to the profit objective. The point is, I don't have to make any decisions here. The market decides for me, right? These order suggestions have made the decision for me. I simply follow them. That's what the Trade Scanner Pro does for you. It simplifies. We came to the table with an idea. We had a couple of stop outs on that smaller time frame, but the idea is still intact. We're looking for longs, right? We determined earlier that we're going to stick with the trend for the reasons that we went over. And so far, it's trying to do its job here, right? We had a couple of we had a stop out, but I hadn't actually taken those trades because I wasn't happy with the price action, right? But some people may have taken them. Okay, so a couple of stop outs. My trailing stop is now trying to reduce the risk. And, when you have a winner, it eats up those small losing trades because you're always winning more than you lose. That's how you generate a positive outcome over time, if you can stick to that. When you let emotions get in the way and you get out of control, that's when you run into problems. You start putting on size you shouldn't be putting on. You ignore the orders. You start taking random trades. That's when you run into problems. Okay. Hey, Alex from Romania. How are you? He shows up now. It's no problem. It's no problem. You can always watch the stream again. I was telling people earlier that I used to be popular in Romania. Alex remembers those days. Alex was one of the people in my chat when I used to have all the Romanians showing up. He's the only one that still shows up. All right. So anyway, Alex, we're just watching this trade here develop and possibly go to the profit objective. So anyone have any questions? Do you see how this tool can be valuable to you? I hope so. So go to the link that I have here on the screen. Sign up for 14 days. It's free. Try it out, but try it out for real. Don't mess around. Don't take random trades. You're going to have to go through the steps that I just showed you. Also, go to my YouTube channel. There's a video called 5 Steps to Better Signals. Watch that video because I go over 5 specific steps like I kind of went over here for you to use the thing properly. Because if you don't use it properly, you're not going to have a good experience. I want you to have a good experience. So do that. And if you don't like it, you can cancel at any time. Just make sure you cancel before the 14 days. If you wait until after 14 days, you're going to get billed and there are no refunds. So please understand that. Okay, cool. So I went over everything. That's that. I'm going to wrap this up. I don't see any other questions. By the way, a couple of things. And I hope to see you signing up for the Trade Scanner Pro. There is support if you don't understand something or if you have a question or if you have a suggestion in the Discord community where Alex moderates and Steen is also there. We have channels for support and we have channels for suggestions. And we have a general channel where you can answer, Alex answers a lot of questions. It's a great place. So you can go there if you need help. You can also send me an email, but usually you can get faster answers by going there. But I do answer the emails. You can also reach out to me on TradingView if you have any other questions, stuff like that, and I'll get back to you. One thing I have to mention is if you get a message from me or Alex or Steen, and it's a strange message, and they're asking you for money, or where I'm asking you for money, or I send you to a site that's not Trade Scanner Pro, or something that's not Market Signals Pro, then it's most likely a scammer. And I don't want you to get scammed. So please block that person. It could be on Twitter. It could be in Discord. It could be on whatever, anywhere. It could be an email. Avoid those scammers. And then we have a channel in the community. You can report them. Let them know that someone's going around impersonating me or Steen or Alex asking for money and stuff so that people don't get scammed. Okay, this is a very common thing. That's the way it is. And there are people out there that like to take advantage of your ignorance and take advantage of my good nature, because I don't do that, right? I will not send you a message asking you for money or send you to a website that has nothing to do with the Trade Scanner Pro or Market Signals Pro. All right, so please understand that. Okay, cool. All right, so I don't see any questions. Okay, everyone. So I want to thank you all for taking the time with me here today. I hope you got value out of the stream. Again, make sure to press the like button, make sure to press the subscribe button, and that's always helpful, okay? So thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of the evening, wherever you are in the world, and thank you for watching.